Hi guys, welcome to Upjada. So in this one, I'm going to be talking about UnoCSS, which calls itself the instant on-demand atomic CSS engine, which makes sense actually. You will see why in a while. So you should consider using it. So when you compare it to Tailwind, Windi or Bootstrap or something, this is far better. It's fast. It has some shortcuts, attributify, pure CSS icons. We'll see what they are. The first thing is let's try it out in our sveltekit web app. So I have a simple sveltekit app running. So it's the skeleton app. I'll install this npm install -d UnoCSS, and it says we should be using this on wheat.config.ts, which isn't there in our sveltekit, but we can actually use it here. You can use Wheat configurations in Wheat object here. So whatever we have inside here, whatever is export default, we can use that inside here. Plugins, UnoCSS, but we have to import that first. Let's put it here. Okay, so once that is done, we need a CSS file which goes in the main component somewhere. So we can use that here in our index, but I recommend using it in a layout. Create a root layout, something like this, and have a script tag there, and import UnoCSS and mention slot here. So nothing changes when you have this layout. All the pages that you create here can use UnoCSS. So let's go back here. Nothing really changes here, so I think some issue has come. UnoCSS is not defined. I think I imported, right? Maybe I delayed the import, so let me run this again. So it should work as usual. Yeah, nothing has changed here. So let me see if I can use some Tailwind classes here. Class equals maybe text indigo 500, and it works right away. Now let me try the hover thing. Hover text indigo, maybe it's 800 now. It becomes darker when you hover. Yeah, it is working. When you hover over it, it works. Now that works without much dependencies. I mean, without any dependency on post CSS. That's fantastic. And one more thing is you can use these utility classes that are defined in many places. Like, let's say I have a paragraph, I have something here, and I have a class of margin left 10. Okay. So immediately it will understand that, and if you look at this ml10, so it generates the CSS for us. Now imagine I have something like a Bootstrap utility class called or something like ml10, which is kind of the same, different utility class that is also pretty much the same. You see ml10 here, and you see the CSS that is being combined here. So for ml-10 and also ml10, it has combined those CSS. That is why it is quite small when you actually build it. It's pretty small. And also, let's see there are anything that we can explore. There is something called shortcuts. That is something I liked. You can also use, make your own custom rules. What should happen when I type m-1? So that's actually good. There is some regex which I'm not gonna go through. Shortcuts. This is something fun. So let's just copy this and use this. So this is apparently in Windi CSS. That's been adopted here. So in UnoCSS, if I have this shortcuts, now I can use button class and it should work. So let's go back to index here. We'll have a button, something called submit, and we'll have a class of btn. Okay, so right now it isn't doing it because I think I have to restart the server. Once I do, you see that it changed its style. Now there is another one here, btn-green. I'll just add that thing here itself, btn-green, and it changed the thing here. There was also one more which is like red. I can probably use that as well here to this, and it kind of is red. You don't really see it. It's a lighter red, and it works. All right. So you can have, like, this is actually something like you have in Bootstrap. If you use btn, all the button classes will apply. You can use button primary, and you can define those shortcuts and use it. That way it's kind of like you can make it as a you can replace Bootstrap as well. And after shortcuts, there is reset. You can get the resets, any kind of reset that you have, you can get those. Reset is useful because the browser will apply some of its styles. If you want to like change it or standardize it or normalize it, you can use this. There is custom variants and everything. I want you to explore these, but I will show you one interesting thing here, which is called attributify mode. So this is good. One of the minor issues, but it's quite annoying, is that Tailwind has this classes. Let's say you have an input field, it has so many classes added to that. You can actually mitigate that using this button, these shortcuts maybe, but there is another way of doing it, which is preset attributify. The presets are like plugins for this UnoCSS, so you can get those, you can install right away. I'm installing that. Okay, once it is there, I can use I can import it in our config here itself, and I can use that inside presets. I think I have to copy the preset as well. Let me have that here. I have restarted the server as well. Alright, it isn't working. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Use presets. Okay, so this is how I should do it. Instead of this, I can do this. And after preset attribute, I have to run the preset Uno, the default one, I think. That should be it. Let's see. It has stopped for some error. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's working. Now it is working as it is. Instead of this, I can actually remove the classes altogether, I think, and it should still work as it was. And if I add something like align center or justify center or something like that, and I prettify it using prettify maybe. Let's place items center also. Let's say I prettify it, and it becomes like this, which is quite readable. And let me inspect that as well, whether it has added all those things. See, it has added those styles, right? So this is how attributify will work. You can also use something like this that I have already written, ml equals 10. That will also work. Yeah, that will apply the same thing, right? So when they say it's an engine, it actually is an engine which generates all these classes, even if it is an attribute. Now this is not just it, so there is more. There is so many things that you can add. One of those interesting things is icons. So let's see how to get that. UnoCSS. So let's imagine I get this. Okay, install this. So once I installed already, so I can import from here. I'll go back here and do that. I can also do it this way. I think it should be fine. And I'll have preset icons. Before this preset no. Okay. And I'll have a comma here. Okay, so once I did that, I can copy these things. I think I can put it here below the button. Okay, now let me refresh. Okay, so it's when I import something, I mean, if it is not yet there, for some reason it throws an error. Okay, so I got these icons here, which does few things. So I'm gonna, so we must use something like I think. So what we installed is Iconify. I'll show you what it is. Iconify.design. So all these icons, you will be having access to all these icons. Let me search for something. Svelte. Okay, so there are two. This one is like, you know, when I hover on it, it changes its color. Let's get that. So how to add this is just have a, I'll remove all this maybe. Just have a span or division or something. I'll have a paragraph. I will have a span here, and inside I'll have a class of I hyphen whatever I copied from there, simple icons Svelte, right? So I'll also have a text here, Svelte logo, and if I come back here, refresh, I should get that. I'm not sure why it hasn't. Should I use a division here? Not quite sure. Sometimes, I don't know. Okay, so it's enclosed in a p tag. Okay, now I'm getting it. So something was wrong, I think. So I will have another division outside of it. So I had to use division here instead of span tag. I'll have a class here called flex because, or since I'm having you know, attributify, I can just use flex and it will work. So I'll remove this icon, and also I can use place items center, and it is working. I can also have empty 20 or something, and okay, it does that. Empty 10 is enough, I think. Alright, now if I add something like hover text red 500, and when I hover on it, even the logo color changes, this SVG's color. So that's something fantastic. Not everything will work like that. You can just see it here itself, and whether it is on hover it is changing the color or not. Only then you can use those. So you will have access to all these icons if you just use, you know, UnoCSS preset. You can use pretty much everything here, and once you build it, whatever the icons you're using, only those will be included and nothing else. So that way you don't really have to use a big library like font icons or anything like that. So it handles everything for you. So that's pretty much it for UnoCSS, guys. I think it's a fantastic thing. It has a lot of potential, so use it, and you can actually compare it with whatever you're using right now and see whether it is better than what you're using or worse. It's still in development. Something might break. There could be breaking changes in the future, but I'm pretty happy with what it does, and I like it. So let me know, guys. Bye bye.